gonna be all battered and stuff. Okay.
Oz. We're
Yes.
going to talk about this book.
Yes. Guerrilla Data
But
Analysis, second
before we
edition.
get to the book,
Uh-oh.
please tell us a bit about yourself. Tell us, how you decided to throw yourself or to immerse yourself into Excel, and how this book came to be.
Well, those are two really big stories, but a lot of people know that I started out in a call center, and there was, I started working with data there, and there was a lot of stories there about like, my supervisor complaining about my stats, but then I'm sitting in my cubicle, I'm knowing what I know what I'm doing, but it's not reflected in these stats. And so I started collecting data about what I was doing, and I started to see categories emerge. Oh, tech support. People calling to find out when their favorite instructor was teaching again, but then they didn't sign up for anything. But these were long calls, and then I'd get these reports with the red circles and arrows saying my stuff was too low. But then when I collected all that data about what I was doing and showed these different categories and stuff, people woke up. They didn't know that many tech support calls were coming in. So that's when I first fell in love with data, because the people above me took that data seriously. Because initially I got mad and I wanted to go to my supervisor and say, what the hell is this? That wasn't going to work. But I was surprised when they took the data seriously. So I started getting moved around in different parts of the company, and everything had some kind of a data problem. So I never saw myself as an Excel guy. I saw myself as a problem solver. I saw like accountants and stuff using Excel. But here's me in customer service, and then dealing with these particular clients and their curriculum, and then payroll, and being like an account assistant, and all that had problems with data. Like there was one time some people started getting the wrong termination letters, and people were calling up panicked. I did my 4 courses, and now I get this termination warning letter saying that I didn't complete my classes. What is going on? So then I started collecting data, and there was finally this one spreadsheet that I was actually able to get. People's IDs numbers had been shifted. Some bad copy-paste job or a sort or something happened to where, like, you got 200 people, and all of the 200 IDs were legit, but they had been scrambled up somehow. So, but I was able to get down to the bottom of it and talk with the external clients to get data from them so that I could bounce these things against each other. And boy, if I had Power Query and those joins at the time, that would have been beautiful. But nope. I knew how to sort, filter, drag cells around, manually color and uncolor them, write if statements, and do some real low-level conditional formatting. But I could think and pull data together and then write some if statements and stuff, and then eyeball and scroll and drag things. And that was powerful for a long time. So the stuff I know now just helps refine what I was able to do with all that stuff.
It's the same techniques, just with different tools.
Yeah. And then, so I was about to say that joins force you to think a different way, but that's thinking different in order to interact with the tool. But the thought process of like an anti-join, I need to know what's over here that's not over there. Okay. I didn't know that was called an anti-join when I was thinking that way. But then, yeah, there was the layoff in '08, and then I tried to figure out what I was going to do next, and I thought about getting certifications and like risk management or something. I was looking for all kind of problem-solving things. I wasn't thinking Excel. And then people started noticing you don't even have Excel on your resume. Why would I? I'm the problem-solving guy. I didn't think Excel was a skill. But now how did I get to guerrilla data analysis? That is where I really appreciate Bill Jelen for this. Things weren't going so well for me. I'm freelancing. And it was at a time where one client stiffed me for a couple $1,000, and then a couple of big projects kept getting pushed off and off and off into the future. And financially, I was in a desperate place. And Bill Jelen and I were emailing back and forth, and I asked him about how he finds clients, or how does he make this Excel thing work. And he replied that he doesn't know about that. He knows about writing books, and if I ever had a book idea, at least run it past him. And then he got back to me and said, there was a book I wrote back in, I think, 2002, he said. It desperately needs to be updated. Can I send you a copy and see if you're the one to update it? He sent it. I said, yeah, I would love to update this book. So that's really how it came about. Was, me finally being honest and not saying, yeah, everything's great. And then going and sitting in my car mad about this client that stiffed me.
That's also a great story about the MVP community.
Yeah.
Helping each other.
And I wasn't an MVP at the time, but Bill as a community, that was community. That was the Excel community. Wow. So guerrilla data analysis, I looked at it and I saw that it is truly these bite-sized nuggets of Excel. And when I started updating it, Guerrilla Data Analysis 2, I said, okay, when you are in this battle, what are some things that you need? Okay, I'm not going deep on pivot tables. I'm not going deep on, comparing lists. But when you look and you see that head bob back around the corner, what do you need right then? You're going to have a little bit of that, because then there's going to be something else. You're going to hear some whispering in the bushes. All right, now this corner, bushes, and then you get low and then you wait. That's how I think about guerrilla data analysis. In that second edition, the longest section is about 30 pages, and it is on pivot tables. But then there are half pages of things, or 2 pages of something, to get you around Excel.
Yeah, so I think the most important chapter in that is tables. Also the biggest kind of added value of the second edition. Kind of tables making everything dynamic, right? Just the importance of that. And even just importance of noting that it's not a range from A to F. It's actually a table. It's called sales, and then you have a column. It's called, income, and then you can say sum of sales income, and that actually means something.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so the title is very interesting, right? Did you find yourself in that title? Because I think it's so you.
I have thought about, because I take on a persona when I deal with data or do my YouTube videos. Because somebody early in my career, somebody suggested, you're Oz, the wizard of data. I don't feel wizardly. When I got 30 PDFs and then 3 of them are this way and then 7 of them are this way, that's war. That's not wizardry. That is ugly, grueling, up in the middle of the night by yourself, sitting in your underwear kind of war. So, yeah, I do see it as, guerrilla data analysis. Put on the camouflage.
Okay, well,
yeah.
But with Power Query, it did sort of become a wizardry, hasn't it? Because it's so much easier. Like back in the day when you had to do it by copy pasting a PDF or doing I don't know what.
Well, there are some things that are slick and sweet, but still, I mean, okay, unpivot is one thing, but then what do you do when you got a table that has double headers? Now you got to deal with that. And then there's things when one column is shifted down from the rest. Now you got to think about it. Index, one starts with 0, the other one starts with 1, and then merge the table on itself. So
that is wizardry, isn't it?
You know something. To see real boxers, and you can tell that a punch is coming. It is a sweet thing to watch. It can be grueling and bloody and ugly, but to see like Mike Tyson just pivot, and then he could suddenly be behind somebody. Got that footwork going. And being able to see when somebody's punch is coming and see one boxer swing 5 times at one and and thinking about your jab and how your jab tries to keep some distance. Okay? And then you go, and then right uppercut.
So it's you fighting the data?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fighting this battle for the people who have to live with what we do or don't do. That's my mantra. Because all these tricks and things, they don't matter. Somebody's pay is messed up, or the analytics are wrong out of the back of their website or something, and then they don't know what to do, or somebody's got contact lists all over the place, and then they need to be swept together. They don't have all the same columns, and then there's going to be duplicates. And then they're trying to run a business like that. All of this battle is in service of that, so that their business can run right. So that contacts don't get left out of important things, or they get 5 of the same thing because they got 5 profiles that nobody deduped. You want to remove that annoyance. That's what we're here for.
Cool. So in this book,
yes,
because I always, ever since we met, and I think it was in Amsterdam at the Amsterdam Excel Summit that we met for the first time, and I always kind of took you as the Power Query guy, right?
Oh, okay.
But there's no Power Query in in this book.
No, there isn't.
So I feel there's got to be something coming.
Yes. And I have been intensely focused on it the past few months. I'm rewriting Guerrilla Data Analysis 3. Excel skirmishes and battling crap data. Yes.
So when is that one coming?
We are looking at June. It's already up on Amazon for pre-orders, but Amazon has it as April. But it's not going to be done by April. We're looking more like June. Yeah, and Bill and I are collaborating again. He's a co-author, and yes, Last week I wrote about fuzzy matching.
There you go.
Yes, yes, yes. I wrote about
Cool.
append and group buy. I wrote about group buy yesterday. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So do you guys kind of settle on you're gonna write about this, I want to write about this, or do you just kind of go with the flow? Like I just wrote this. What do you think?
Well, yes, we did list um, what needs to go into the book, things that are important
Okay.
but didn't exist when that was written. So we've got a long list, and yeah, we mostly agreed on who's going to take a lot of things, and then there are some things that okay, whoever gets to it first, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So will Power Pivot be included?
Power pivot, no.
No.
Unless
Okay.
unless Bill were to take that on, but I'm not qualified to do power pivot. Though I did do relationships.
Well, that's because Power Pivot is kind of data modeling,
Right.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So relationships are a big part of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me, and this goes for both books, I guess. Who would you say this book is for?
This book is for. Oh, wow, man! Because I'm thinking about so much, and I haven't been asked that before. Because I want to say something like, people who are in the fire, they are in some situation where they don't have a deep background working with data and Excel. And there's a lot of people like that, more of them every day, that they get promoted to a position and then suddenly there's data and they're not
Okay.
dealing with people as much anymore, or going and twittering for their brand anymore. Now they got data to deal with. So what the hell is a pivot table? Okay, so the book is going to have that. Dynamic arrays, boom. Tables, going through the 6 joins. And I don't go through all 6 because I didn't want to make it a Power Query book. I show diagrams of all 6, but I only have examples for a few. And so that means a person would have to be conceptual in that thinking and say, okay, I've showed you these types of joins, and then here's the 3 diagrams for the other ones that I didn't show you, but you should be able to download the exercise file and go through it. So it's for that person that's hungry, that wants to join this battle. And
Okay,
yeah,
so you-
and then I think and then I do start the book out with overview of the basics. Here's what you'll see in formulas. What is the exclamation point? Or what happens when you see that hashtag symbol or multiple hashtag symbols in a cell? What is that stuff? So I do have a brief section saying, okay, this is like a boot camp. I mean, you might be skilled in everything, but we all got to get together and go through this boot camp, and then we go. But is it for a true beginner? No. It's for somebody who's got some idea of what's going on and can jump in.
Okay. So kind of intermediate.
Well, and I don't think in terms of beginner, intermediate, advanced. I think of like when I was having to deal with Excel. I didn't know much about it at all, but I could write a formula. I could write an if statement. I could do and, or, a sum. I didn't have much, so I could be technically considered a beginner, But the kind of stuff that I was doing because I could think, that was a different thing. And so that's why, and then also, tasks didn't show up at my desk at beginner level. I was having to, take these codes over here and match them up with the names over here. And I might have 500 rows over here to match up, but then I got 2,000 to pull from. And I didn't know about VLOOKUP at the time, but I had an idea of how to think through this. Is there a way for me to get rid of the people who've been terminated that's in this list of 2,000 so that I could shrink it and lower the amount of eyeballing back and forth I had to do? The amount of sort in a way to get these ITs together, because I know that these ideas are Jody. Okay, so I found Jody up here and over here, so let me filter them, get them all together, boom, okay, then drag that fill handle down. This is
Okay, so you would say they're actually for someone who conceptually understands what needs to be done, but is not actually aware of all the tools that are in Excel, and this book will introduce those to him.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool. So Oz, when did you begin your YouTube channel?
It's been some years now. Maybe right before I left Chicago to move to Portland, Oregon. So that would have been 2014. Yeah,
Okay.
And early on, I made videos where I didn't talk. I just pointed the arrow, because
and wrote the text on it?
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because I've hated my voice, and then later on to have people say, "Wow, you have a nice voice." I hated it. So that's why some of my earlier videos don't have that. They don't have audio. And then I decided I needed to play, because I liked making video better than I liked writing a blog. But I felt like if I'm going to keep doing this, I got to have fun too. So at some point things turned, and I stopped being so serious and dry and get to the point and get out.
So was that like a turning moment, or was that like a process of several months that it sort of evolved?
Yeah, a process over, I would say, about maybe several months. So it wasn't long, but it was gradual, where I would do little things. And then people would comment, "I like that, I like that." So, okay, so I got approval from my audience. Because when I say that, I've got to have fun too, that shouldn't be taken as it's about me. No, I love my audience. They are great, and they give me feedback. And when people have said that they didn't like something, I had to determine what they're talking about, and in some cases I would agree. And then in other cases, what I did was an artistic decision that I'm going to make again. But when somebody complains that the music was too loud or it was too much music, okay, I can get it. I can be more tasteful in my decisions with that. But overall, they like the fun of it. Okay, I just overdid a few things. All right, thank you for letting me know.
Cool. And how do you feel that it's changed the way you look at Excel? Has it changed with the YouTube channel and the approach? And
I feel like it's easier for me to find that persona when I take on a character in a video, or take on a mood, a vibe. And yeah, I approach Excel with an eye toward, is this something I can show on the YouTube channel? Will people get value out of this? And so it helps me to continue on and help people and do different projects and experiment with new features in Excel so that I can present it to folks. And some things are sweet and slick and sexy, and other things are just brutal. So I picked the vibe. What was it? Was it something that was brutal and it tried to get me, and I ducked my head out of the way and grabbed my sword and swung around and boom! There you go. I done anti-joined you and you didn't see it coming.
No.
That's right.
I should put a big fire.
Yeah, exactly.
I still don't know how to do that. I know you showed us the Instagram, but you know where you sort of lost me, but I totally get it when you said, and I think you were actually showing like an explosion. Do you remember at the Amsterdam summit for the MVPs?
Yeah.
And you were doing Camtasia bit, and you said, so this bit took me like 2 hours.
Oh.
And it was like a 2-second thing, right? And I just went, oh.
Yeah.
But I totally get it because it's such a big part of the video,
Yeah.
right? In a sense that of a story you want to tell, it wouldn't work without that. So I totally get it. But that's where I drew.
Yeah, and I get folks asking a lot about how to make video, and they don't see what goes into a 7-minute video, a 5-minute video.
Oh, yeah.
For what I do, it's a lot. And back before I was doing my videos like I do now, I could get out 2 videos a day. But now a video takes me at least 8 hours, and I haven't done one in a while because I've been focusing on this book. But I've got ideas about videos that I'm going to start the year with. But I love it. I love being in that creative part of my mind, being able to play, and I feel like there's a lot of art in me that wants to get out. And it's been a joy to have an audience that enjoys this being on this journey with me.
Cool. So a lot of that probably came from improv, right?
A lot of it, well, some of it. Improv, I think, helps me to keep it together. Because I've noticed at times, before I did any formal improv, I've noticed that people liked when I was going to get up in front of a room. It might be a workshop and people want to talk about it. So, everybody tell us how your last week went. And then I get up there and say, the whole room would laugh or something. But improv helped me to refine that. Because there were times where I would get up in front of a room and I would try to make something happen, try to get an emotion, and it wouldn't happen. So one thing that they told us the very first day when I signed up to do improv classes at Second City, don't come here and try to be funny. Funny will come. You cannot force it. And sometimes your role is not to be the funny one. Okay. So that gave me some grounding and showed me, okay, one way to refine what I was doing in front of the room is to not go up there and force funny out. And then taking on a character Go all in on the character. Don't be half in and half out. There's so much that came from improv, and I stopped when it started getting hard. Improv is so hard. Because for one thing, improv usually happens in an ensemble. So you got, 5, 6, 7 people on stage, and everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, and it's like being a team. And you don't toss somebody something that they can't catch. Or you toss that to somebody who can catch it, and then that's somebody else. And then sometimes a scene is going off in some cliche direction. Now, how can you enter a scene and get it off of that cliche? What are some clever ways of dealing with a cliche? Otherwise, just avoid them if you can't come at them from a different angle. So all those things came from improv, and then watching other people, watching Key and Peele, and being able to see inside what's going on, and borrowing things like that. And I borrow a lot of stuff. When I'm out in the world, maybe I'm listening to a podcast or something, and there'll be some nugget of something. And I say, okay, this is going to be the theme for my next video. Yeah, because when we did the Excel hash this last time, I had been watching and rewatching the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. And so that was the vibe that I picked up when I did my video for Excel hash.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sort of pull influences from your life.
Oh, yeah.
For the videos and for the the roles and the story that you're trying to tell. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I also know that you have some classes on Linda.
Well, it's officially called LinkedIn Learning now. The Linda brand was slowly phased out. But yes, I've got maybe 10 courses there.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was like 5. Okay. So which is the recent one? Which one did you do last?
The most recent was so there's a couple of ways to answer that. One, I've got 2 Excel challenges that come out. There's an advanced one that comes out every other Monday, and then a weekly regular challenge. So most recently, I recorded a new batch of new challenges. But the newest course is my Intro to VBA. And I'm really proud of that course because it is based on the Sunday afternoon where I went to go see my friend Brent. Because I wanted to know what is VBA. I would get books on VBA, I try to watch videos, and they're already in. Okay, now here's how you're gonna format 7 spreadsheets and then set your headers up and everything and pull this from there, and you need to whatever. Oh, where does VBA live? What does it do? Why would I do something in VBA and not in a worksheet? Oh, because you can't do this with a formula. Or this is something that I have to do every day. And I mess it up sometimes. Whatever. So,
yeah, there's a lot of similarities between VBA and Power Query in a sense of, automating stuff that you usually do, but helping yourself just to do it easier.
Yeah.
So are you also into the new script lab?
No.
The JavaScripting?
Mm-mm.
No?
No. And that's what I like about my VBA course is that I don't get into deep coding. I do recording macros and showing people the code. Okay, all of this kind of stuff that I was asking from my friend Brent, and when I asked him to show me VBA, he very reluctantly said, "Okay, Sunday afternoon, 1 p.m." And when I got there, he looked at me and was like, "I don't know what I can teach you in an hour." And I was tried to reassure him, I'm not trying to learn VBA here. I want to know what it is.
Understand what it
yeah,
is.
and that is in my VBA course. I think it's like 28 minutes. So I don't go into loops and all kinds of stuff. It's for somebody who wants to know what is this VBA thing that I keep hearing so much about.
Okay. So is that the most popular Excel course that you have on there?
Now, I don't know. It's doing well, but my Power Query course is doing very well. And then I have a course that's called Tracking Data Easily and Effectively. That's doing really good.
Okay.
And that one is really Excel good practices. That's what that is. Where I talk about making a formula trigger. Okay, so if you got a formula that needs 4 inputs, write a trigger that says, don't do any calculation until you got these 4 inputs. Okay, or else you can wind up with something that looks crazy. Yeah. Basic graphing, cross-footing, where calculations are important. Calculate something 3 different ways and make sure that those 3 results add up.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's really a best practices type of thing. I went into that course thinking also, what would I have liked to have known long before I knew them? Okay, cross-footing. Check these results before you send them off to get approved.
That's nicely put.
Yeah.
What would I like to have known before I knew it?
Yeah.
It's always, because we're kind of living on the edge. At least that's always my view of it. And it's always you kind of, I needed to know that before. It doesn't help me now when I just spend a day,
Yeah.
But that is how you remember stuff.
Yes.
Because it took you a day and now it's, I could have done it in 3 minutes. Now I'm never going to forget.
Yep.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but you also have some Camtasia classes, right?
So, yes.
Or courses.
Yeah,
sorry.
I can think about this 2 different ways. I made a video editing course on the Thinkific platform. And then TechSmith, the people who make Camtasia, they contacted me and they said they're coming up with something they call like TechSmith Academy. And we got on the phone and we talked about what would be a good course for me to make. They wanted my contribution. And so I said, how about a video on how I make video? Because that's not often seen. You get tips, how to pan and zoom and put an effect in and line up your audio tracks and things. But what is the process? Okay, so I show how I record on my camcorder and I have Camtasia recording. I do that so that I can get the audio spike and then line the tracks up. And then my next move, get rid of anything that I'm not going to use. Mistakes, I might have coughed or something. And avoid the temptation to actually start editing. Oh, I know I'm going to want an arrow here. Okay, and then I know I want a sound effect here. But still, I got 40 minutes of raw footage that's full of a whole bunch of mistakes and stuff. don't clutter up the process by actually starting the editing process. Get all that other junk out of the way first. And then I show how I do my sound effects and music and stuff last, because there's too much stuff moving around in those first few hours. I don't want all of that stuff moving around with it or getting lost or accidentally spliced or something. So there's a whole workflow that I've developed and show in about a 20-minute course.
Yeah, that's always a great thing, because sometimes, you read a recipe for something, and it's got all the, the measurements, it's got everything, and it's like 2% of watching someone do it. Even if he doesn't tell you any measurements, when you can see how he's mixing it, where you can see the consistency or something, you know it far better than 100 grams of this and 200 milliliters of something,
Yes.
It's just, it's a different thing.
Beautiful analogy.
So that was a great...
Yeah, but we get to see each other cook sometimes, but like when it's editing a video, we're alone somewhere and we don't see what somebody else's process is like. In spreadsheets, a lot of people think that they are they're the thing where they are with their spreadsheets. But then when they look at somebody else's spreadsheet who really knows Excel, well, there's some insights to be gained. Okay, but if you're sitting alone just looking at your own stuff, you don't know what's out there, how other people do things.
Or even if you're just looking at a spreadsheet that someone else made, it's still kind of its pieces. You say, oh, he doesn't have grid lines. Okay, so I would do that like this, and you go through the pieces, and you know how you would do each thing, and yet you're totally missing like the forest for the trees, right? You're missing the big picture where he would actually tell you, look, my end game is I'm going to put icons here, and those icons need to be seen. So grid lines, those are off by default.
Yes.
They have to
Yes.
be. So you can focus on things. Again, if you watch someone make it and they tell you what's the reasoning behind it, that's so different.
Yes, yes. You get to get inside the thinking of why it's this way. Something might look ridiculous or wrong or whatever, but then you go and talk with somebody about, okay, so this is how I did it, and based on the restraints around me, because there's all of this, well, why didn't you do it that way? Well, because I was in a situation where I was told people have been looking at this spreadsheet this way for the past 9 years, and I can't change that. I was limited to what I could change on the back end.
Yeah, and that's also a lot of trouble I have with YouTube. It's like you're creating a 10-minute video on something, and there's a lot of things that you do, and you know why you do it, but you won't go into it because it would take another 2 minutes and another 2 minutes. And to actually go through something really explaining it would take half an hour, but in the end you put out an 8-minute video that it's sort of, it looks like a tips and tricks video because you've left out those 2 minutes of explanation, on every minute. And I struggle sometimes with, okay, so did I include everything that that people need to understand this? And still sometimes I'm drawing a blank. I'm saying, look, I'll just put it out there and we'll see what happens.
So
and I will get comments that people say, why did you do that? And then I'll explain it down there, but I realize, I should have said that.
Wow. Like, what's an example?
Well, there's a video that's my most popular video is on my YouTube channel, is about a job interview where I give just 5, what it's a sort of what I would ask someone if I would want to test them for their Excel skills and knowledge. And it's just 5 tasks to do. And with each task, I initially explain it. And then I go through, okay, and this is why, and this is why, and then I'll even offer multiple solutions. I'll say, look, if you did it like this, that's brilliant. If you did it like this, still, it's okay. Here's the result, right? And it sort of goes back to what you said. Sometimes you need free ways of doing it just to check it. So, and that video, I really thought I included everything. And still I'll get, what? Why did that happen? Why did that happen? Like, one of the tasks is, let's do a sum of top 10 values from a range. Like, you have 100 numbers, now let's do a sum of top 10.
Wow, okay.
And the way I created those 100 numbers is with doing a rand between.
Okay.
Right? And then I'll do the free ways of doing it, where I'll show, like, you can use large, you can use this, you can use this. But the thing is, I'll get 3 different results. Why? Because each time it will get recalculated because it's ran between.
Volatile,
right?
yeah.
And I didn't really explain that. I just said, look, I just made up these numbers and they'll change. But I didn't really go into, and here's the result, and it's different because of this and this. And I'm getting multiple comments on that. Why was the result different? Is that a legit way of doing it, or is something wrong? And I say, yeah, look, it's ran between. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when you get, oh, I should have explained that.
Yeah. And I can see that as like a problem. And then I also see what I love about YouTube is that there's always the next video. You know, because when I feel like, well, let me see. There have been videos I've posted, and people generally like them, but then somebody says, but you know, there's this thing, or here's where you're just flat out wrong. And so then I'll feel kicked in the teeth, take a day, and then say, you know what, they're actually right. So I need to make another video and say, you know what, I messed up.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
isn't that the most human thing?
Yeah, well, and that's been some good, valuable growth to develop the trust with the audience and come back in the next video and say, you know what? There's a better way of doing this, way simpler than I showed you last week. Or there's a detail that I missed. Or, oops, you know, something.
Yeah.
You know, so I see it as a relationship.
Even seeing that as a solution for, not a solution, but as an opportunity for your next video, right?
Yeah, yes.
There's
like
a
more
topic.
content. So there was one other thing I was thinking about. Content creation. We throw ourselves out there, and people will comment on our clothes, messy room.
Oh, I haven't had that yet.
You know, they comment on people's voices, the solution you're showing. So you are out there and vulnerable. And yes, I will sit and look at a video and think about, did I miss something? I don't think so. Sometimes when I'm thinking of an example and then there's something that's truly glaring, I'll refine what I'm going to show so that I can either focus in more on this weird thing or, you know, some way to where it's not completely left out. I've got to be real careful with that. You do your best you can, and then put 15 hours into editing a video, post it, boom, there's something somebody finds.
Yeah, but, you know, I also, because, yeah, you can look at those comments and go, oh my God, they, you know, why do they got to stick into this when there's a whole lot of that? But on the other hand, you say, well, that's brilliant. That means that somebody actually watched it, that somebody rewatched it, somebody was careful, somebody saw the difference, because I didn't, you know, even think about there's going to be a difference. And And then looking at it from that perspective, I'm always just so, psyched up. Oh, people are actually watching
Yes.
these videos.
Yes.
They're learning, they're noticing. So let's do some more.
Yes. Yes.
I think that's also a great perspective to have on those comments, right?
Yep. Because I've learned stuff, and I think about those
sure.
3 network days videos that I did. The first one, I criticized the hell out of it, and then several people came back and they kind of corrected. They liked the video and they liked the points that I was making, but I should have been using networkdays.intl.
Yeah, the international
Right,
one,
right.
Yeah, I just recorded a video. That's ridiculous, but yeah, because that one is brilliant. That one is brilliant because that one can get you through stuff that
Yes.
network days or work day, they're actually totally related. Just doesn't get you through because all you have is weekends and holidays. But what if somebody's free every other Wednesday? What if somebody? How are you going to include that? And then the zeros and ones. That's the
Yes.
That's the
yes,
kicker. I love that one.
Yes.
I love that one.
Yep. And then, you got a store and you know that you're going to be closed these 4 days in August for inventory. Okay? So you can put that in there. You can't do that.
Just include it in the holidays.
Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep, it is. But I really like the video. It can take some time and some real to get started. But once I'm there and I'm sitting there and with the Camtasia open and I'm looking, and then I think, okay, this needs a truck horn right here. So then I go, into the TechSmith Assets Library and then listen to. They got 30 truck horns, so I'm listening to them. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this one. So there's just some beautiful stuff. But we're vulnerable. We make ourselves vulnerable to being wrong, to folks criticizing all kind of stuff.
Well, nobody can be right all the time,
No.
And nobody was born knowing everything.
No.
So.
And then to see, professional folks make mistakes,
Sure.
And that was kind of my permission. When I was taking classes at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, as students, we had access to a certain room in the art museum. It was like a library. And I remember looking at a sketch that Egon Schiele made. And he had erased lines and stuff, and you could see where he had moved a line. Okay, we don't see that on the painting on the wall in the museum, but to see his sketches and the stuff, screw-ups and stuff, that gave me permission. And then to listen to certain recordings, Bootsy Collins in Pinocchio Theory, there's a point where he says, "Sing!" And then they said, "RUBBERFANS." And then there's a point where he says, "Sing!" Oh. It was like he messed up. It wasn't the cue for that. He set the cue, and now you can hear him saying, "Oh." Listen to it.
Yeah, I think but it's a creative process,
Yeah.
It's a creative process that sometimes takes you down rabbit holes where there's no rabbits there, and you just gotta dig yourself out and go down another one.
Yeah.
But I just watched the Beatles Get Back documentary, and it's so great because I really knew the songs. I knew all the songs, and then you hear them actually creating the songs, and how many hours of wrong avenues of bridges that you never heard, or just intros that never worked and lyrics that were scraped.
Yeah.
There was to get to that masterpiece that is the Let It Be in the End. So I think it's the same process, but that's a creative process, and
Yeah.
you do, yeah. And even in the end, when you know, because it takes all that to get to the end result, and then in the end you're vulnerable because you put it out there and say, well, I think this is good, but now you tell me.
Right. Yep. And we stand into it, Jack. And I like it.
Yeah, well, it's definitely, there's not a lot of people that, talk about Excel with your passion. And I definitely think that as far as Excel videos go, Excel on Fire is a very, very specific channel. It's got a very, very different approach to things. And I think there's definitely people that get it better if they look at it that way.
Yeah.
So I always
and that is something I constantly think about. And I've mentioned this situation in one interview, I think about a year ago, where I paid this guy $500 to help me grow my channel. I had a goal that year I was going to end the year with 100,000 followers and have that silver play button and everything. Paid him $500, and then he started showing me all these kind of things that I didn't want to do, and not because I'm hard-headed. It's because stuff that I was not going to have any fun doing. This has got to be fun for me to put in 15, 20 hours editing a video. He may as well have said, Oz, you're making peanut butter cookies. Chocolate chip cookies would sell so much better. But you know what? I hate tasting chocolate chip cookies. No, that's not me. So, it's had me like, this is what you can expect from me. Okay? Consistently versus, yeah, I'm gonna crank out a chocolate chip cookie for you, but it's gonna be half-hearted and infrequent. Yeah.
So tell me, Oz, what's in the pressure cooker besides the book?
The book?
What else do you got happening?
I'm gonna be recording another course for LinkedIn. I don't want to say what it is yet, but later in the month, later in January, a week is blocked off, so I gotta prepare those workbooks. Think about what I'm gonna put in these videos.
Okay.
Where I'm gonna be in a storytelling show at Portland University the 17th of January. So I'm preparing a story for that show. Got ideas for my new YouTube videos, and I'm hoping to go out on another road trip, maybe in the spring. I went on a road trip back in August, and wow, it was a great time. So I'm gonna schedule some time to go out again.
Cool. And will you be speaking at the Global Excel?
Yes.
And what will you be talking about?
I think it's like 5 things. So I don't remember the exact title, but basically I'm gonna be looking at some things I did a really difficult way years ago, but now here is a different way that I could do them now.
Cool.
Yeah.
That just kind of sums up everything we talked about.
All right.
Okay, will you also be doing a masterclass at the summit?
I think so. I gotta look.
It's in 2 months, man. You should be prepared.
Hey, yeah, man. I just gotta get this book out because there's a slow process. Because once my manuscript is done, then you've been through this process, huh?
Well, only once.
Okay.
It's the book that's actually behind you.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excel Insights. So yeah, there is the, once my writing is done, and then it goes to an editor who checks it for grammar and clarity, and there's back and forth whether I want to accept the recommended changes, or if I can make a case for no, this is deliberate. Please keep it. That goes back and forth for a while, and then it goes to the technical editor to make sure that what I'm saying about Excel is accurate, and then there's it goes to print. But every time,
Yeah, it's a long process.
because every time I get the book back from one of the editors, I gotta look through their suggestions.
Yeah, and think about them and
Yeah, and try to keep a fresh mind because, like I'm the one who wrote this stuff, so I'm gonna go through, and gotta still keep looking for all the little things, and not just say yep, and move on. But it's great.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to the book.
Thanks. Yeah, me too. Cause I'm having fun with it, and I'm glad to be including all the new stuff. Well, especially the Power Query stuff, cause my world has been data cleansing, and Power Query was.
Power Query is such a big part of
Oh
that.
yes.
Cool. Well, Oz, thank you for talking to me.
Yes, thank you.